What is up, Corporate Misfits? Happy Friday. Welcome to episode 67 of the Corporate Misfit podcast. I'm your host, Brittany Darrington, founder of the Corporate Misfit Club and business strategist for female entrepreneurs who are looking to start, launch, and grow their business. On today's Friday feature, we are chatting with Reelika Schulte. Reelika is an international business coach with an honors degree in business and is the founder of Design Dream Lifestyle, where she teaches women from around the world how to use their experience to launch their own thriving online coaching business. Growing up in Estonia, Reelika developed an entrepreneurial mindset after watching her parents start their own business after the fall of the Soviet Union. After working in her parents' business and also incorporated into the finance world for 10 plus years and running a personal finance blog, Reelika became an expert in balancing the personal and professional life. She uses her business background to encourage other women in the online coaching field to expand their reach through sales funnels, conversions, lead generations, and passive revenue methods. Her work has appeared in publications like Forbes, Shining Mentor magazine, and the Huffington Post. She loves to speak about finding clients through automated marketing, creating signature coaching programs to sell, and also building evergreen global coaching businesses. So let's go ahead and dive in and hear how Reelika became a corporate misfit.
You're listening to the Corporate Misfit podcast with Brittany Darrington, where female entrepreneurs can get powerful tips and advice on how to start, launch, and grow their business.
Reelika, I am so excited to have you on the Corporate Misfit podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. I cannot wait for our Corporate Misfits to learn more about how you left your 9 to 5.
Thank you so much for having me. Really excited to be here.
Now, Reelika, I love that you have a really diverse background, and so many people always wonder, okay, I'm in the corporate world. I have all these skills and gifts and these talents, but I don't know how to go out on my own. I don't know how to start my own business. So can you tell us, what did you do before you started creating and helping people to build their dream lives? What did you do prior to your own business?
Yeah, so I had been in the corporate field for, oh my gosh, maybe like 10 years. And it was like a natural path for me because that's what my parents told me to do. Go get your business degree and go work in corporate. So I did. And I was working pretty much in operations, finance, and business side. And I was literally just working in a cubicle, like a lot of people do. And at my job, I was responsible for analyzing the sales and all about the business side, and how we can grow the business. And I was working as a business analyst as my last job. And for me, it was literally from 8 o'clock till 5 o'clock, so that I was analyzing the business sales and how we can grow the business and how we can grow the corporation, and just coming up with different tools for this, to grow the business and to get better results. And I was really burned out, if we have to be honest. So for me, it was like a natural shift that when I discovered this entire coaching field, that I want to take my business experience and my finance experience and translate this into a business. So maybe just to add as well, that I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. So my parents were entrepreneurs. So I saw that my mom was an accountant, my dad was running a business, that how this really worked for them. You can have more flexibility in your life, but also you might be working more. Let's say you sometimes work for weekends, obviously, as well for your business, but on the same time, you can also control your schedule a little bit more, so that you're not just, let's say, stuck from 40 hours a week from Monday to Friday only. So for me, it was like an easy shift to transition into the business.
And I love that you had that entrepreneurial background with your family members, because also too, I feel sometimes it's easy for you to at least go and pick someone's brain about it, and you can ask those questions, because sometimes entrepreneurs don't have the resources or know an entrepreneur to actually go and ask. And so you created a game plan, and then what happened next? What was the next step that came about?
I think for me was that like I always had a mentor as well, that I wasn't in this game alone, that I had someone who was able to support me coming up with the actual game plan as well.
Mm.
And I think that, once you have a game plan that this is what I need to do to build my business, you have to figure out like, how can you balance everything once you're still working like, on your job, because you're gonna be busy. This is not like an easy time for you to kind of hustle like on both levels. For me, so what I did specifically was I was using anything that I can potentially like automate or simplify my business. Let's say, for example, if I can't show up in a Facebook live stream consistent every single day, I can do Facebook ads, because that's what I can put, let's say, to run my business while I'm still working in a full-time job. And while I still have, let's say, income coming in until I can really master those pieces. And
Oh,
then
that's
I
good.
can see that, okay, so what is the next step and how can I take this leap? And I really, I would say that a lot of times we think about that, what, I want to quit my job, but we never set like the date when this happens. And I remember that when I was in that position and I was kind of like, what, I want to just quit my job. Nothing happened. I wasn't able to quit my job until I set the date. But listen, by that time, I gotta have that many clients and I need to have those pieces in place in my business, and then I will quit my job. And so because the moment that you kind of set the time frame and start working as a reverse engineer, what do you need to have in place? Everything kind of comes together and it really becomes as a real business. So you're not just anymore like running like an expensive hobby on a side, but actually quit your job and start, coaching or like running a business for, full time and helping your clients.
And I love that, because it's true. Like, you have to go back and you have to create the overall goal, and then you have to reverse engineer that and really identify, like, how am I now going to get here? How do I now break this huge overall goal that I want for myself and my business, maybe to replace my income, quit my job, whatever it may be. You have to figure out a way to break it down to where it's digestible, and then create the action steps that go along with it in order for you to get to that next level. Or, like you said, you'll just say you want to quit your job, and then you'll just be walking around and still working at your job and still going in every day to your 9 to 5 that you might not like or that you are ready to leave. And so it is so important to do that. Now, how did you know exactly what it is that you wanted to go into? Because that's something that a lot of people struggle with. They want to implement like 1,000 different things, and they don't know which idea to kind of go with or where to start. So how did you identify what you were going to be doing once you decided to kind of pivot and go from and leave from your corporate world?
Yeah. So I was really looking into what makes me excited, what I'm actually passionate about. And for me, like my really strong side is anything about the business side, like, like analyzing like strategies and really coming up with those things. And one thing that I didn't mention before, but like before I started coaching clients and before I launched my coaching business, I actually I was running my personal finance blog on the side as well. So that was my first adventure, kind of like to see like how things go. But one thing I realized about myself is I don't like to come up with the content. So especially because I'm not a native English speaker. So for me, it was a lot of work and it was really exhausting for me. And it really was more like as a side income. I was maybe making like a couple grand a month, and it really wasn't something that I could replace my job. And what was missing was this human connection with people. So, and I actually didn't even know that coaching as a profession or as a business even existed until I ended up just like randomly discovering this online. And for me, it was like, oh my goodness, I can actually, take my expertise, what I really love, have a human connection and build a business that I can run from home. And that for me was like, oh my goodness, I just gotta go for that. So anybody who's maybe like watching and thinking about it, I'm not sure which direction to go, then you gotta know what your expertise is at, but don't just rely on your expertise, because it could also be a personal experience. And because you gotta be excited about that. Because if you're building a business, and even if you are, let's say, making some sort of income already in your business, at some point, if you're not passionate about that, you will burn out in your business as well. So you have to make sure that whatever you are doing in your business, that lights you up, because things get hard in your business too. So even if you're full time, So if you don't have the fire inside of you, then things are not moving. So identify what makes you excited. Like how can you connect those two things?
I love that. And it's true. Doing what really lights you up inside and that you're excited about, because as you know, like when you're in business, you're going to have your ups and your downs. I mean, it is a roller coaster ride in entrepreneurship. And if you are in love with what you're doing, if you're just doing it to make some dollars, especially in the beginning stages, if you're really the one in front of the business, then yeah, you got to love it. Now, I always tell people, when you get to a place where you can be an investor and you can look at a business as just a revenue stream, or how do I help make this better, and look at it almost as this process that you're looking to implement and fix or change or whatnot, then that's a whole nother story. But when you are starting your business, especially in that beginning stage, you gotta enjoy at least the task and things that are at hand, so that you can get through some of the difficult times that will come about in entrepreneurship. So you decided to go into coaching, you figured this was your thing and you really loved it. Now, how did you make that transition from the employee mindset to the entrepreneur mindset?
Mm-hmm. It's a way different mindset, definitely. So I feel like for me, maybe it was easier than most people, because the way that I grew up with my parents. Because my parents, they also used to tell me that you should start your own business, but I just never had a really good business idea. So until I discovered coaching. So I feel like what I always learned is that there is really like a limit how much you can make in the corporate field, right? So that even when you get a promotion, that you always have to prove yourself or like that. And but I realized that there's actually so much potential, like outside of that. But in the business, things can just happen fast. And if you have the investor mindset, that let's say that how much do I put in and how much do I get out, things really start moving fast. And we get what we tolerate. So so if we are okay with what we have, nothing really changes. But I feel like in entrepreneurial mind, you have to think bigger, you have to think outside of the box. So I always surround myself with like-minded people who are like many steps ahead of me, to keep my mindset straight as well. So I like to, let's say, even when I was in corporate field, I always figured out how to attend, let's say, like a live events or go to conferences with other entrepreneurs, and to really hear what they're saying, and reading books, listening to audibles and podcasts and things like that. I can really keep my mindset straight, that I know that even if I make investments in my business, at some point there will be the return for that. And it's not just the return from that, but it's also the growth from that. So like doubling and tripling and so on from there, so that it's worth it.
I love that. And it's so true to surround yourself with like-minded individuals. Now, how do you structure your day? Because that's something that sometimes we struggle with. We're like, what do I do now in my business? I don't have a boss telling me what to do. So what were some things that you did to kind of really take charge of your day?
I personally like to set like weekly goals, that okay, this is what I need to achieve in this particular week, and then I simply kind of break this down into daily basis. And I personally have found that if I focus only, let's say, one or two things for one day, like in a particular task, for example, I get more done. I used to be the one who had like a huge to-do list, like, I need to do this, and like that, and then really nothing got done. So what I figured is that, let's say, like I might have, let's say, like a Monday just particular to create content, maybe let's say for the next days, and my emails and like anything that I need to kind of create, so that I can really zone in, and let's say that I don't have to come on a video, for example, I don't have to do my makeup, and like I can just kind of like enjoy this content piece. Now, maybe for the next day, I'm focusing on something different. But every single day, I'm taking the steps to kind of achieve this weekly goal, whatever that goal is. Maybe I wanted to launch something. Maybe I wanted to sign new clients. Maybe I wanted to create some content for my clients. Whatever that was, that I was kind of breaking this into smaller steps. And then every day, I set my goals that, okay, today I have to get this thing done. And so that I got up early and I did my things until I got this thing done. So that really helped me, because if you reverse engineer, like, and kind of break this down into smaller steps, you actually get things done, and you get moving forward. So yeah.
That is so true. And like you said, being able to get into the zone of what you're doing, I really preach on time blocking. Like I always tell people, if you can time block and get in the zone of what you're working on, and you actually structure your day where you're focusing on maybe similar stuff, similar tasks, maybe it's content writing and social media writing or whatever it may be, but it allows you to really like zone in and get what you need done. And I have found that the process that we're using is really, it helps you to be really efficient with your time, and it helps you to get stuff done in a faster period of time versus starting, stopping, doing something else. It's so powerful to do it that route. So finding clients is something that, you know, getting people to your email list or getting them to buy your products or your services. How did you go about finding, especially your first group of clients, how did you go about finding them? And what are some things that you did to put yourself out there and be visible?
Yeah, so I feel like I really love like the funnels. So like, and that was one of the things that when I was in a corporate field that I was able to build behind the scenes. So
Mm-hmm.
that let's say that I manually draw everything out on a paper while I was still maybe like sitting on my cubicle, maybe like on a lunch break or something. And then in the evening, I actually had to build this thing out. But for me, I really used like a lot of Facebook ads and I recorded webinars. So for me, the way that I got my first clients was through my webinar funnel, because that was automated. And then I was able to be at my corporate job while they were watching the webinar and then booking a call with me by evening times or for the weekend. And then from there, I was able to sign them into my coaching program. The other place where I have got clients is my Facebook group. But I have to be honest that it was very busy on a corporate. So like I was definitely very slow in my Facebook communities. So that I really tried my best, but it wasn't something that was thriving. However, I do say that I was able to pick a few clients from there. So even if somebody who's watching and has a Facebook community that is not that big or like not that engaging, so know that people are still watching, know that people are still there for you, so that even if you show up like inconsistently, and like if you think that you're inconsistent, they still notice you even if you don't get any likes or comments, so that you can still get some clients from there because they are still there and they still see you. So that, but I feel like and then additionally, I did email marketing. So that really was easy for me to craft an email from my cubicle, to send it out to my list and ask them to book a call with me. So these are the kind of the things that I was able to build like behind the scenes and get my first clients in.
I love it. You're like something I can do from work. I could send an email. That's so funny because that reminds me of back in the day when I was in the corporate world. I'm like setting up email lists and doing all this stuff. So funny. Now, do you have a team of people that helps you to manage your current workload right now?
Yeah, I do. I do. And I actually, that's another thing that I did is that you definitely want to hire the help already while you're still in a corporate field. So
Mm.
hiring help does not necessarily mean that these have to be your employees. I actually don't have any employees. They're all independent contractors that you can just hire either project based or hourly based. So currently I have a web designer who has been working with me pretty much from the day one. And so that she's really doing just a project based, that whenever I need something, so that let's say I need my website or let's say I need some sort of designs done, so that she can craft that and she knows my style already. And then I have my own assistant. So my own assistant is someone that I was also able to delegate the stuff out of my shoulder from my own cubicle as well. So that like, you know, can you get this one done? And I was able to just call her or just text message her or email her, and things got moving fast. Because if I'm sitting and trading my, you know, my hours to dollars in a corporate field, there's only a limited amount of time that I can get something done. And if somebody can help me do that, and while I'm also getting my paycheck, I have the money also to pay to my assistant as well, so that you get my business up and going. And I also have a sales team in place. I did get my sales team like step by step because like, obviously at first you don't have that many calls coming in. So like, because right now we enroll clients through the discovery calls. So once the load increases that you have like, a lot of calls coming in, and especially when you're working full time as well, especially when you do not enjoy maybe those sales calls that much yourself, it's easy to outsource. And you know that somebody else can do that for you and enroll those clients for your business.
And they can also filter out too, like
absolutely
the people who are just not meant to even be a client. You find some people who come on to sales calls or discovery calls and they think they're going to get every answer that they could possibly get in their discovery call. And you're like, no, I'm just trying to learn more about you and your business. But it's so true. Like being able to outsource and being able to delegate tasks, it will help you to really take a load off of yourself, because burnout is something that is so common in the entrepreneurial world. And we try to do it all. And especially in the beginning, we're wearing like every single hat. And so being able to outsource, even if it's a little task or if it's a task that takes up too much of your time that you can give to someone else that they can do in an hour or two, it's so worth it. And it's so valuable to have that.
Yeah, I mean, I could not, let's say, get out of my job if I have to do everything myself, right? So you have to find a way, let's say, like, people who can support you with that. And I would say the same thing in like at home, right? So my husband was definitely more taking care of my son as well. So like rather than me and even like helping out with the cooking, because in the evening time, I had to spend more hours to working on my business, and same thing on the weekends, because that was a priority. But as always, you have to understand that this is like a specific hustle phase only in your business. This is not going to be this way forever, because like, that you just need to build this at first and then you get it kind of going. I always say it's like going to university, because when I was in university, you have to study every night. You have to do that. But it's not going to last for 10 years, right? You're going to do that specific amount of years and you'll be done. The nice thing about business is that you may be working and having this hustle phase, maybe like a couple months or 6 months in your business, and then you're out of your job and you can full time work for your business, and then you have more flexibility as well. Yeah,
I love that. That's so true. It is like university, where you just it's only a period of time, and eventually you will overcome that and you will graduate and you will get to that next level. So now, what is your favorite part about being an entrepreneur?
I love really the flexibility, I have to say, and that's another thing, that if you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, figure out what lights you up, right? So, and for me, so when I'm thinking about my journey, so I always love to travel. I love to do fun stuff. And so I integrated this in my business. So what I love about my business right now and being an entrepreneur is that as long as I have my internet connection and my laptop or my phone, I'm fine. I can serve my clients from anywhere and just really be like location free. And now I can say that we have been traveling with my husband and with my son this year in every 6 weeks. And this used to be like a really huge dream of mine, when I was just like sitting in the cubicle, because I know that I was only given like 2 weeks of PTO, and that wasn't my dream come true. And I missed out so much, and I wanted to get the experiences like in life. So that's what I love the most about this, that nowadays internet is for, it's available. So like it would be like, and for me, it's like no brainer to use that for business, so that if you have the skill set that you can help others, and there's 4 billion people online, and just take your expertise, go online, show up, and you can have the flexibility in your life. You can go with your family, with your friends, travel, do all the fun stuff as well. So
I love that. And I love that you even said there are 4 billion plus people online, because what usually happens is when people start businesses, especially online business, they're like, there's no one out there. I don't have any clients, and I think to myself, there are like so many people online. You just have to figure out how to connect with them. Like that is it. You just have to figure out a way to speak their language, connect with them, and get them into your tribe. And I don't know if you're familiar with Russell Brunson, but he always says, he's like the guy of sales funnels. He always says, you just need 1,000 people in your tribe. Sometimes you don't even need that, but if you can have just 1,000 people in your tribe, most of the time you don't need all these other people in your tribe. You need this 1,000, you're good.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, what advice would you give to a female entrepreneur who's looking to leave their 9 to 5 and start their own business?
Yeah. Well, you definitely need a game plan so that if you do not have a business experience before, then I do highly recommend that just like find somebody who can mentor you, somebody who has walked this walk before, that you can really learn and kind of cut the learning curve, that you not just be like spinning your wheels. And I am that kind of person that I really truly believe that you shouldn't be just like jumping into a business and leaving everything behind. Just stay in a job until you have the foundation built. In that case, you're not kind of you have time to build it. You have time to kind of go with the flow, get some clients in, start generating revenue in your business, and then slowly transition out from there. So, and when I say slowly, then it could be different for different people. Sometimes you may be able to start working, let's say, part-time in your current job, sometimes not. So, but either way, if you see consistency, that you feel secure about yourself, that I know what I'm doing, everything is built, I already have the revenue coming in, I have some client base, then you're able to say bye-bye to your job and like really go into your business full time. Yeah, to make a smart decision about that. Yeah.
Definitely agree with you. And I think that's a very, it's so important. And I think it's something that if so many more people took this approach, then we might not see so many new business owners, shut their doors within the first year of business. So I love this approach because it is true. Making that game plan and that strategy beforehand is so powerful. Well, Reelika, I have absolutely enjoyed chatting with you today on the Corporate Misfit podcast and learning more about how you left your 9 to 5 to start your own thriving business. And I want others to be able to stay connected with you. So how can our viewers and our listeners stay connected?
Yeah, so you can go to my website, designdreamlifestyle.com. You can find a free training over there too, how you can transition out of your corporate world, or just find me on Facebook, Reelika Schulte, and check me out. Thank you so much for having me.
If you've enjoyed today's episode of the Corporate Misfit podcast, we invite you to check out the Corporate Misfit Club. The Corporate Misfit Club is the essential resource for female entrepreneurs who are looking to start or grow a business they actually love. Whether you are a seasoned entrepreneur in your startup phase or simply thinking about taking the leap into entrepreneurship, we've got your back, girl. With our extensive course library, monthly training, exclusive members-only discount perks, and unlimited tools. We also have a supportive community of women where our members share stories, experiences, their wins, and business tips. The Corporate Misfit Club is the perfect place to be to start, launch, or grow a business. So check it out at corporatemisfitclub.com.